mean,
Sure.
when you got $500 million extra dollars, it's like,
but
ooh,
this could turn within a month of now. Because there is talk of calling a special session to expand Medicaid in Oklahoma. And this is a big deal. And by the way, Saturday I talked to Congressman Kevin Hearn and Representative Jim Jordan as well, about is there a game plan for fixing this federal. Remember we talked about Oklahoma gets puny reimbursement compared to these other states who just give health care to people who could afford to pay for it.
Right.
And Congressman Hearn said, what's her name? Conway? Trump's advisor.
Oh, yeah. Conway.
Yeah, and anyway, she did talk. She told the Republican caucus, "Here's our game plan," and Hearn just said, "But I got to keep my mouth shut."
Yeah.
So, and I'm like, "Oh man, you won't tell us." But at least we know there's something. However, it's not going to be rolled out until we see what happens at next year's elections. Because again, if you got Pelosi in charge of the House, good luck trying to get
that makes sense. Even if you don't like it, they got to wait to see. It's going to roll either way until then.
Well, I think this comes down to what we as the viewers and individuals have got to do. We've got to stop and look at this constitutionally. Where's our bell? We've got to start getting our heads wrapped around this. Medicare, Medicaid, which is the state, Sooner Care, and all of that. All of these entitlement programs are unconstitutional. There is nothing that is legal about them whatsoever.
And they're the fastest growing part of our budgets, and they're just like a cancer.
And they're a cancer to whom? To the younger generations who are coming up the most.
Yeah.
Because they're paying for things that could go away and that they never actually.
Well,
they're not able to, they're not going to be taking out of the system that much unless they're really sickly.
Right.
If they're healthy, they're not going to be doing that because they don't have age-related disease and stuff like
It's
that.
a bad system to
the chances of having a balanced budget are far, far more difficult to get to now because of how much you got to service the debt before you can even spend any money.
And what's that debt on? All these entitlement programs.
From the past 4 decades. Yes.
No. We are talking 10 decades plus. Because these things go all the way back to FDR 7 decades ago.
Well, no. I'm talking about the deficits. Yes, we've had the spending programs, but we have.
But the serious deficits.
The serious deficits really started the late 70s into the 80s.
That's correct.
When Congress just could not discipline.
Well, we've always had a deficit to one degree or another.
It was very small,
but it's very small. It's nothing.
I remember one year when I first became conscious of what's going on, and Carter was president. It was a $29 billion deficit. $29 billion.
Back when $1 billion was like $1 trillion today.
Yeah.
Back when you had to say with a B.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like it mattered.
So anyway, that's what's going on the legislature right now. Looks good. By January, we could all be ready to march with pitchforks.
To transition to a more national story, but this idea that we have a GDP in America, we make so much money per year, but we owe more money to China than we make.
Yeah.
So this kind of flies in the face of Bernie Sanders saying, we're the richest country. No, we're in debt. We don't have the money.
Yeah.
This idea that we're the richest country and we can afford.
All right. So
we're in debt. We cannot afford.
Thank you for pointing out the obvious.
Okay.
That's my job, Dave.
Oklahoma's elder statesman, James Mountain Inhofe, who's 85 now, I guess, and going for another 6-year term, he voted for this spending increase, whereas James Langford voted against it, as did Congressman Hearn and some others in that. I guess the difference in perspective is, are you going to have to stick around to pay the bill? Because I don't think Jim Inhofe's going to be around another 10, 20 years.
More pizza!
Well, and let's stop and think about that, because it comes down to each and every one of us. we have a good society if we all live by the golden rule. If we treat others like we want to be treated.
Right.
So if we don't want to have the debt put on us, then why do we put it on somebody else? And that comes down to individuals. All politics is local.
That's right.
Okay? Jim Inhofe may have some political feelings or, inclinations that would make him vote for it. And so forth. But the thing is, here's the thing. He's just going to be a reflection of society. My question is, what are you doing in your life to cut yourself off from the governmental teat?
3 words. Military-industrial complex.
Oh my God.
James Inhofe is finally now the chairman of the Armed Services Committee. Do you know what toys you get to spend money on when you're out of that?
Well, if I did, I wouldn't tell you.
Yeah.